Hi, I'm Jim Cathcart. I'm a professional speaker and author. I've been doing that for about 40 years all around the world. And I've got 18 books. The two that I'm best known for are the book Relationship Selling and The Acorn Principle. They've become international bestsellers. And I'm just privileged to be doing something that I dreamed of doing for many years, and my life is blessed, and I'm grateful. I was talking with Matthew Pollard a few weeks back, and he was telling me about the Austin Small Business Festival and about how everybody just seemed to step up to the plate and say, hey, we want in, we want to help. How can we support what you're doing? So you have the governor's office, you've got the mayor's office, you've got, the community, you've got the banks, you've got the Chamber of Commerce, heavens, Google, and everybody stepped up to make this a success. And wow, did it work. I mean, this has planted the seeds of what I think will be a huge orchard full of oak trees, if oaks are orchards. Anyway, a grove in years to come. Because when you look at the panel of, not just one panel, but the entire panel of presenters at this conference, there were experts who had little tiny bedroom businesses that were doing tons of revenue. There were people with big suites of offices and a team of personnel helping them. There were people with multiple locations, people in service businesses, product businesses, innovators, food sellers, liquor distributors. Gad, such a diversity. If you're in the audience and you own a small business or aspire to start one, you couldn't help but find an example that was directly related to what you do. And the beauty of Austin being the center for this is that Austin is self-described live music capital of the world. What is live music? Live music is entrepreneurship in its purest form. You got a person out there gigging for fun and for revenue, right? They're playing because they love to do it, and they are hoping to make a living at it so they can do it more and more and more. Well, that same thing applies if you're printing T-shirts, or if you're providing audiovisual services, or whatever it happens to be. What you want to do is more and more of what you have a passion for doing. And as a small business person, an entrepreneur, what you need is others who will encourage you, others who will not feed your fears or doubts. Not the people that say, "Oh, you sure you want to? Wouldn't you want to get a real job?" The days of a real job are long gone. If you want security, strengthen your wings so you can fly. And that's small business. And so I love what Austin's doing to encourage that, and I love being part of it. And I hope that as a result of my being here and participating in this, I find tons of excuses to come back here again and again more often, because I've been here many times, but this feels like second home to me. In my spare time, what I do is I run mountain trails. I'm part of a group called the Heartbreak Hiking Fools, named after our signature trail in the Santa Monica Mountains out in California, Heartbreak Trail, which really is a killer. And 3 days a week, we go out. There's 60 of us in the group. So 3 days a week, Sundays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, you'll find 20 or so of us on the trails, running and trudging to the top of a mountain about 3 miles from the trailhead, and then turn around going back. Killer workout, and it keeps us in shape, and we don't have to worry about what we eat. And so I do that, and that's a wonderful part of my life. I also play the guitar and sing, and my wife and I do that professionally once a month or so. We play at a wine bar or some kind of a special event. So that's a real joy for me. And I've got a family that is so much better than I deserve. I love being around them and just sitting and saying, wow, and encouraging them. For example, today in my speech, I was in Texas, right? So I had a guitar, and I played the Ballad of the Alamo. And then I had a couple of friends in the audience who said, let's do this one. And we got together. I started singing it, and then they got on stage and joined me. And we did Friends in Low Places, the Garth Brooks tune. Love that one. I think one of the things that our society needs desperately is to reorient itself toward generating self-reliance. The school system and parenting practices don't seem to encourage that anymore. And it used to be, when I was growing up, it was assumed any child that's born in the United States, the parents, the community, the schools, everything will collaborate, conspire, if you will, to help that child become self-sufficient, to make them self-reliant, so they solve their own problems. So you don't have someone standing in line saying, hey, isn't there a government thing that pays for people like me, right? So no entitlement mentality, self-reliance, pride in being able to make it on your own. And if we start encouraging that, which is exactly what small business is about, it's all about freedom and responsibility and accountability and being able to take your lumps and make your way. And you end up with a sense of pride of accomplishment from that. Well, if we reorient this culture, and I mean the entire country, culture back toward generating self-reliance, everything else will handle itself. Because if you think of it, a group of people with no talent is completely useless to you. If you've got a need, if you're injured, if you have a desperate situation, you can't turn to them. They've got no strength to offer. But if they're self-reliant, they can take care of themselves. They can also help you. And that's the beautiful thing about America. Alexis de Tocqueville commented on it. He said when he was here during the Revolutionary War, he said that the amazing thing about America is that the people, he didn't use these words, self-organize around a problem and pool their resources and solve it. He said you don't see that in other countries around the world. One of the things I've heard over the years is that an organization is typically the lengthened shadow of an individual. And this organization, the Austin Small Business Festival, is, at least for right now, the lengthened shadow of a man named Matthew Pollard. And Matthew's from Australia, and he's a delightful, giving individual, and he's fun to be around. And he had the idea that this would be a good way to organize people in the community and generate the kind of energy that makes things better for everybody. And he told me about it and told other people about it. And people started stepping up and saying, I want in, let me help. And now then he's got so many people that have participated in this and contributed to it that it's no longer just his. And his spirit and the spirit that he generated can now be perpetuated over many generations. There are going to be a lot of people benefit from the Austin Small Business Festival.